Welcome, everyone. Kicking off this deep dive, we're going to be tackling generative AI and how it impacts design education. Specifically, we're going to be unpacking this thought-provoking LinkedIn post by Tim Stock, who, by the way, teaches design strategy at Parsons.
Yeah, that post really got me thinking, right? It's like, how do we get design students ready for a future where AI isn't just another design tool, but a partner?
It feels like right now there's all this hype about AI in education, but are we really using it effectively, or are we just giving students a really expensive calculator?
That's Tim's point exactly right. It's like we're handing students this incredible tech, but instead of pushing boundaries, they're just looking for the right answer. But design, especially design strategy, which is Tim's area, it's not about finding the right answer.
It's bigger than that.
Way bigger. It's about understanding the problem first, looking at it from all sides, figuring out a solution that really connects with, human needs.
So how do we get students to stop treating AI like a magic answer box? How do we teach them to actually think with it?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Tim makes this really cool comparison to Pacific Rim. Giant robots, Jaegers, controlled by two pilots who have to be mentally in sync, right? What they call drift compatibility. Tim suggests that's what we need for AI in design, that kind of mental connection.
Hold on. So instead of just teaching students the software, we need to teach them to, drift with it.
Kind of, yeah. It's about a different relationship with AI, not about telling it what to do, but more about working with it. To explain that better, Tim highlights three main concepts from this paper. It's called drift compatibility in the design classroom.
Let's break those down then. First up, cognitive load sharing. What exactly does that even mean?
Okay, so think about it this way. Our brains have limits, right? We can only process so much at once. Cognitive load sharing means using AI to take over those little tedious design tasks so our brains are free for the bigger picture stuff.
So instead of, say, a student having to sketch 100 different versions of a chair design.
Exactly. The AI handles all those initial drafts, lets the student focus on what matters, how comfortable it is, how it looks, how it fits into a room, and serves its purpose.
Having a super-powered assistant to handle the boring parts so you can focus on the creative stuff.
Precisely. Which, brings us to that second concept, that bidirectional feedback.
And what is that exactly? Is that just like a fancy way of saying, hey, the AI tells you if your designs are good or not?
It's deeper than that. See, most design software, it's a one-way street, right? You put something in, it spits something out. Bidirectional feedback, the AI is more like, I don't know, a design partner.
Okay.
It still analyzes what you do, reacts to your choices, but it can also be like, hey, what about this different approach? Or did you notice this pattern? Even challenge you, which is interesting.
So it's more like a back and forth with the AI then.
Exactly, yeah. Imagine a student's working on, say, a branding project. They give the AI some basic ideas to start, like keywords, maybe some images to get the vibe right. Now, the AI could just spit out logos, color schemes, fonts, the usual.
Right.
But with bidirectional feedback, it goes further. It might say, hey, that color might not work with your target audience, or that font's a bit too corporate, especially if you're going for edgy. Then the student, they take that on board, tweak their stuff, and the AI reacts to that. It's like this constant give and take. That's where the power lies.
That's wild. So the AI is not just a tool. It's almost like, like a mentor in a way? Makes you think harder about what you're doing. But there was the third concept, wasn't there? Augmented Collective Intelligence,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah. So this one takes us past that single designer using AI, and it's more about, teams, how they work together. Let's say you've got a group of students, and their big challenge is to redesign a public space, make it more inclusive, sustainable, all that. Each student's bringing their own experiences and skills to the table.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So how does the AI play into that whole team aspect?
Think of it as the central hub. It takes in all the ideas from each student, mashes them together, analyzes everything. It can pick out the common threads, maybe even come up with ideas that nobody thought of on their own. We're talking about the entire team's intelligence, but boosted by the AI's ability to connect all those dots.
So it's not just about making each designer individually smarter, but making the team smarter, right? More creative, better at solving those big problems together. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, right? AI not just as a tool for individual designers, but like weaving together a whole team's intelligence. It really makes you wonder what the future holds for design teams,
Yeah, for sure. And that brings us back to Tim's main point.
Yeah.
Are we really prepping students for that kind of future? If this whole drift compatibility thing is the key, how do we even teach that?
Exactly, because Okay, saying AI can make collaboration better, that's one thing. But in a classroom, how do you actually make that happen? That synergy, that back and forth.
Well, I think Tim focusing on those three concepts, the cognitive load sharing, bidirectional feedback, and augmented collective intelligence, that's a good start, right? It tells us we need to move away from that old school way of teaching design, the
Hmm.
teacher talking, students listening. We need something more fluid.
So less lecturing about design principles, more what guiding students as they're messing around with AI, actually doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine a design studio where students are constantly talking to the AI, not just to get solutions, but to test things out, get feedback, figure out where their creative process can go.
It's like that saying, right? Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. Except now that involvement, it's
Yeah.
got AI woven right
Yes,
into it.
exactly. And that's what's so exciting, right? If we really embrace drift compatibility and everything that comes with it, design education, it can be about so much more than just here's how to use this AI tool. We can raise a whole new generation of designers who are like fluent in how to work with machines.
Designers who don't just know how to use AI, but why. They see the potential, how it can make us more creative, help us solve those big problems, build a better future. And honestly, that's a conversation we need everywhere, not just in design schools, but anywhere. AI is going to shake things up.